Everybody, hello, and welcome to the Big Three on a night where all content creators are probably feeling a little bit heavy and a little bit on edge because of what happened in Utah. We are so thankful to be able to spend this night of all nights with our family and our friends and our extended network. We have a lot to talk about. It has been a very big week in news. And, we just start right off with the I will say, unfortunate and untimely death of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is a polarizing figure in American media and much praised by those on the far right and the opposite for many on the far left. To give a brief context and let everybody kind of
It has been
join in,
confirmed that
I'm up. I'll give you my video that I made. I want to say before showing the video that a lot of people on social media have had a lot to say. That's something that Tiffany and Kenny and I were talking about before going live. And I'm in a number of groups where literally people have said, don't even talk about it, like don't address it. But I made my video immediately because what I had to say, I knew exactly what I was going to say because I was going to speak from the heart and just tell the truth. And this is that video.
It has been confirmed that the founder of Turning Point USA and conservative commentator Charlie Kirk has passed away at the age of 31. Charlie Kirk was a victim of gun violence, assassinated, his life taken at a university in Utah while he was speaking out against the trans community and their propensity towards gun violence. I want to publicly say that violence has no place in American politics. And while there are some who use political rhetoric to inflame violence towards others, I am not that man. Charlie Kirk went on record and said this previously. This is a headline that is now making the rounds and being reposted on a number of comments. It was wrong when Charlie Kirk said it, and it is wrong now that it's being said about Charlie Kirk. We need to rein in gun access and scrutinize who is being allowed to carry these weapons. It is my prayer that what has happened today may finally lead us back down the road to bipartisan support for gun reform.
And that's that. I offered no thoughts and prayers because I don't know if that would have made any difference. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think the prayer part would have been exceptionally sincere. I do feel empathy, although he did indeed say, as in the comments, that he felt no empathy. But I do feel empathy for his children who are now going to grow up in a world without a father. And I do feel empathy for his wife who has now lost a life partner. And I can't say that Charlie would have felt that same level of empathy. I'm pretty sure that maybe he would not have, based upon his rhetoric and the things that he said. But nonetheless, this was a human life taken by another human. And the opportunity for change, the opportunity for redemption, the opportunity for growth, for grace has now been taken from him. And the least that I can do is offer my sympathy as a good human to his family and to those who mourn him. Uh, Tiffany, Kenny.
Well,
Well,
me
as
and
a
Kenny were
victim of gun violence, where I lost my stepfather due to gun violence, I've been shot out in 2020. I don't know if anybody remembers back in the day, child. I was telling y'all how there was bullets just flying through the window. It's just not a. I think a lot of people need to step back or just take a break from social media and not post exactly what you think you might feel in this moment. For those who have been victims or no victims of gun violence, you have to literally put yourself in these people's shoes. Even though Charlie Kirk said some of the most egregious things about victims of gun violence, especially with children losing their lives and saying that, it's worth it if we're sustaining the Second Amendment, we have to take a step back and realize, who are we in this moment? Are we people or proponents of gun prevention, of gun violence prevention? Or are we going to, do these, one, like, we're going to, backtrack? And because Charlie Kirk so happened to, be a victim of the very words or the very things that he put out into the universe, because, words have power and it's a double-edged sword. We have to, tread that line and make sure that we are not becoming what we are against, especially in this moment. So I want people to just make sure that you're just being very, mindful of this moment. What Charlie Kirk has said about Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, trans people, good victims of gun violence, he's said some horrible, horrible, horrible things. However, we have to take a look at the state of America and what we're in right now when we're seeing political violence happening so frequently. We lost two legislators earlier this year due to some political violence where they went after them and literally killed a woman and her husband in their own home. So we just have to just make sure that we're better than this. And we have to extend that grace and empathy even when it's not extended to us sometimes. And I'm not telling people what to do and what to say. I'm just saying just be mindful.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, me and Kenny were together when we first learned about this earlier today, and I think we both were like, "What the hell just happened?" Like somebody, we were in a room and it was mentioned, and we walked out and we watched the videos, and we were stunned, like we couldn't believe what just happened. And that's the humanity in us. While other people may not have the same humanity for us and are bigots and disgusting people, that doesn't remove the empathy and the feelings that we have. Yes, you can be mad. There's a lot of things that Charlie Kirk has said that are disgusting, racist, bigoted, and just downright nasty. But me as a person, Kenny as a person, Zach as a person, that's not who we are. I'm not going to cheer for somebody dying and would get literally a sniper shooting somebody in the neck in front of hundreds of thousands of people. Like that's not something that I can do. Now, if you want to do that, that's you. All I would say is be mindful of doing it on social media because people are watching and people are seeing what you're saying. If you don't care, you don't care. That's fine. But the video is disturbing. And my thing about it is it's easy to cheer for something like this to happen, but it could happen to any person who was out there. You know how many events I have been to where there is very lax security that I am at. I mean, we've all been to them, and it is very easy. While they may have security, like the political person may have like a security person, somebody on a roof can literally shoot them. And it could happen to anyone that we admire, anyone that we like. So I'm not going to put that karma on anybody else. I'm just going to take it for what it is and see what it is in this moment and just accept that we are in a situation at this point in time where political violence is very much a thing and people are taking out their anger on and politicians. It's not just on the left, it's not just on the right. These people have guns and they are going to use them, and we have no control of that. We could literally be at any moment at an event and something happens. So I thought about my own self because as people that are on social media, we get threats. We get threats all the time. So it could easily be one of us. So I'm not going to laugh and joke about something happening to somebody when I know that that could turn right back on me.
And I think that's a great way of saying it. I think your comments and the comments are valid, and you have a right to feel the way you feel. Um, I think that my video was honest I know it was honest to me, but I felt like it really did a balanced job of presenting empathy while not praising the situation, nor being or pretending like I cared more than I do about the person. But I do care a great deal about the actual instance of anyone losing their life because of what they believe, because this is America. And we do have free speech, even though there is an entire movement afoot by the Republican Party to take that free speech away from us. And of course, they're going to weaponize this and they're going to use this to further their own political agenda. On my Twitter page, I just posted a video from True Social. This video has not made it to Twitter that I've been able to find. This video hasn't made it to any of the social media that I've been able to find. it looks weird because I don't have a Truth Social account, of course, but someone who does sent me the link, and I had to screen record it from the internet. And I also wasn't willing to accept a damn cookie from that site, so it just looks weird. And I apologize, but if you look at the video, and it's 4 minutes, well, 3 minutes, but it is literally the president of the United States putting the blame on us, on me and Kenny and Tiffany, not by name, but because of the work we do and everyone who does our work. The president of the United States has said it is our fault, and he promises retribution. These things have consequences that we are keenly aware of, that's causing us anxiety and fear, because we get on here every single day and fight the good fight for democracy and combat the misinformation that they're putting out there. Tonight on Fox News, several Fox News hosts and commentators put the blame on the far left, on leftist content creators, on leftist media, on leftist politicians or left-leaning politicians. These people are not thinking logically. And what's crazy about this is, as even in the moment it's being talked about, you can notice that the content creators talking about this on the left are talking about gun reform. They're talking about pausing and empathy in the same way that the three of us just talked about. But on the right, they're talking about retribution. They're talking about punishment. They're talking about blame and whose fault it is, except, of course, gun reform and gun control. The messaging is always starkly different. And to me, it should give the American people a clear contrast. But unfortunately, there is a deficit in this country when it comes to thinking.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I was just on Twitter too, and I saw that Travion Kuti, you know that nut. He, eh, I am shocked. She responded back to somebody and said there's a video of the shooter on campus and running, and she said the libs didn't kill Charlie Kirk. It was a hit. So, and she is getting cursed the entire hell out by the right. This clearly is not some and this and we have to deal with Pash Patel, right? That is a whole hot mess. I was watching MSNBC. I really don't like watching it for the most part. I usually watch at 7 and I turn it off. But tonight I watched it, and what I have seen is a mess. It's so mixed, but they refuse to play Trump's video. They would not play his video because it is that divisive. They
No,
did not want him.
it's horrible. It's a very horrible video. And maybe I should take it down. I don't have a problem taking the video down. I just feel, I think maybe I will, but I will show it. I want to know, I had to just, you know what? I'll take it down, but I'll show it here so you can see it, and you can understand why it's so dangerous and why this video is so divisive. That's a very good point, Tiffany. I do think I appreciate it. And just filter through the comments, get your passports together. I think, Kenny has said it multiple times. Kenny has said it
Yeah,
many
I've
times.
been telling
get your
y'all
birth certificate.
when I tell you the day after the election, when I left Zach's house, I went and got my passport photo that same day,
Sure
which is
did.
why I'm looking so toe back in my passport photo that's going to carry with me for the next 10 years. So, just so you see, I'm looking distressed like I was a refugee on the run. So, you just have to be prepared for things like this. And I honestly did not see this video. So this is going to be my,
Me too. I didn't
God
refuse to
honest
watch it.
reaction to what you guys are talking about, because I took a nap after that. This was too heavy for me.
I wanted a nap, but I had already committed to rolling.
And anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith. And we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family, who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain. This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before, and it's not even close. May God bless his memory. May God watch over his family. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Fat fuck.
So he's just gonna rewrite history right there. This is the most
Of
revisionist
course.
damn history, saying that Charlie Kirk is a martyr when this man made fun of George Floyd and pretty much spread misinformation, disinformation, saying that he died of fentanyl rather than asphyxiation and literally being murdered by the police. But I digress. As far as what
That's
Trump
what they
just said,
always do. They always rewrite history.
but as far as what Trump basically just said, he's talking about political violence, and we're not sitting here talking about rhetoric. He wants to blame the left for rhetoric, but if you don't start no shit, won't be no shit. The problem is it's always them. They're the ones who have started this. It was Donald Trump's rhetoric when he first went down the elevator comparing Hispanics to murderers and rapists, and the fact that he in his Department of Justice is going after trans people because of one person's incident, that they want to go ahead and ban trans people from owning weapons or being able to own to carry, which is literally the Second Amendment, which they claim to advocate for by deeming trans people or LGBT members as mentally ill or unstable. Are you serious? Like, it's your rhetoric is the reason why we're in this situation to begin with. It's your violence which is doing this. Do you think that violence against trans, violence against blacks, violence against immigrants, violence against people with invisible disabilities, violence with people who's on Medicaid, violence with people who depend on SNAP benefits, you don't think that this is going to be a reaction to all of the harm that you're bringing to these people? And I'm not sitting here justifying anyone's actions. Violence is wrong on any accord, regardless of your party affiliation or your ideology. However, your words have power, and it starts with you, Donald Trump. Even when they took an assassination attempt on your life, I remember Joe Biden increasing your Secret Service security. However, you just took Kamala Harris's away. I recall, and I wish that you had this amount of empathy and was willing to go out here and denounce violence when they killed those Democratic state representatives. I didn't hear shit from you. You didn't have the same energy. But somebody who's spreading hate and division, you have all empathy for. But you don't have empathy for somebody who lives differently than you, looks differently than you, loves differently than you. But you're supposed to be the leader of the free fucking world. Fuck you. Sorry.
No, you're right. It's that whole video is just disturbing in so many ways. First of all, Donald Trump should not be talking about God because Lord knows. He is the least empathetic person. He is causing harm to people, and he has the damn audacity to sit there and talk about this one person who he likes and is a friend of his, that he is, that God should be with him. Look, I don't give a shit about none of this. I'm gonna just be real. I don't like that man. And Trump is a divider. Somebody say he's a divider in chief. Yes, he is most definitely the divider in chief. He did not, like you said, he didn't even mention the political violence. We have had political violence against Democrats many times. And no one, Nancy Pelosi's husband was hit with a fucking hammer in the head. And Trump laughed at that shit, okay? This is not funny. And it's frustrating to listen to his fucking fat ass talk about shit when he is the problem here. Like you said, he is the divider. He is the problem. Yes, there is so much that can be discussed. This should be a time for us to be together and say, you know what, enough is enough with this. No, he's fanning the fucking flames. He is fanning the flames. And then you got people, like you said, on Fox News that's saying, oh, we need to retaliate. Who are you going to retaliate against? Because we know who they're going to come for. And it ain't going to be, the leftists, the white leftists. They're going to come for us.
100%. There's so many great comments in the chat, and again, people are pointing out something I thought immediately that it was crazy, wild, that our president, immediately recognized this loss, but said nothing about the mass shooting today in Colorado that took the lives of children, that he made no public statement about the loss of life in Minnesota when democratically elected leaders of that state legislature lost their lives. And that's just two instances of many where our president has completely ignored the loss of American life. But took time today to recognize it, but also to make a video about it to further divide the country instead of uniting it and, possibly inflaming the situation to make it worse. But that's what he does. But as we knew he would do, because we know him, we know our president, we know what he does and what the power he wields and how he uses that power for his own benefit. Someone in the comments said that he doesn't have empathy or care about Charlie Kirk, and I'm inclined to agree with you. Charlie Kirk didn't give millions to his campaign. Charlie Kirk did help enrich his mass fortune to about $3 billion since becoming president again. So I would say he probably doesn't care about Charlie Kirk, but he absolutely cares about using this as a moment to further his agenda and to continue to spread authoritarianism across the United States if we let him. The thing is, we can't let him. We have to fight back in the means that are available to us as free citizens in the United States of America, which is still, on paper, a democracy, exactly as we witnessed on yesterday by protesters in DC. When Donald Trump and his staff walked into, is it what, Joe's Crab or Joe's Seafood in
Joe
DC?
Seafood.
What is it called?
Joe Seafood.
Joe's Seafood, and booed him loudly, called him Hitler, and refused to give him a moment of peace and rest. That is a kind of resistance that we have to put into place as citizens. We have to call it out when we see it as loudly as we can, peacefully, respectfully, but definitively. Or so I believe.
Yeah, well, that was the cold pink people. They've been coming for Democrats for all this time, and they finally figured out a way to get Trump. I just want to know how they got in that restaurant because that was very, that was very tough that they were able to be in that restaurant at that time to be. It's white privilege, of course, because but nobody thought they weren't Palestinian or anything like that, but they knew that these people were there. They were coming there. First of all, the media didn't even say where Trump was going, but they knew he was going to be there. And I find that actually hilarious. And that cold pink lady and her little friends, they had a whole song and everything. So, listen, they finally figured out that those people are the enemy, and it's about goddamn time.
Look, I'm here for it. But here's the other thing that now is very concerning, especially with this video that I'm seeing of Donald Trump saying about retaliation and all these other things, stoking the flames of division. is how do we hold the president accountable if we are able to peacefully protest? But however, I'm concerned about being able to go out in these spaces and lend my voice and do what I have the ability to do, which is protest and, raise my voice and uplift the issues that matter to me most. Am I going to be able to do this safely? And those are the things that is just running in the back of my mind. It also runs in the back of my mind as far as free speech and stuff like that. Like, even though as raw and as uncut as I'm able to speak, are we going to be targeted because of the retaliation from these Republicans? Them thinking that maybe our rhetoric and us pushing back against theirs is somehow causing this political violence? I'm concerned. And I think all of us should be concerned. This is the very reason why I'm denouncing political violence in any type of form, regardless of party affiliation. But these are the moments that matter, and what we do next is going to show what the future is going to come.
Yeah, I think the pro listen, there was a lot of questions. There was a protest this weekend in DC and people were asking where are it was funny because Ted Cruz even noticed that there was no black people out there. And it was kind of funny, but it was also like, yeah, there's a reason why black people aren't out there because they are scared to be out there. They know what could happen if they get caught up in this situation. So white people, I call them the good whites are out there protesting and making their voices heard. Let them have it. They can do it. It's fine. But we also have to be take care of ourselves because we know that there we can literally be targeted at any point. We are in the public. People are threatening us. Like I keep telling you, like I literally was threatened over the weekend on Instagram. Like people are freaking insane. I didn't even make a bad video and people were losing their damn minds. So you have people that are out there that want to do harm to people for using their voices. And this is just kind of where we are and in society that people cannot agree they can't agree or nor they disagree in a way that is civil. If you don't agree with me, then don't agree with me. Just keep it moving. Like this should not be oh, I don't like your video, so I'm gonna post your address. Like this is how crazy these people are. And we need and some of it is the left, some of it is the far left, some of it is the far right, but we still have to be vigilant because and it's not just this, it's also just people have guns. Like there's so many people that have freaking guns everywhere and you don't know what these crazy people are going to do.
We have no idea, and we do have to be cautious. We have to be careful, and we have to resist in ways that make sense for us, that are safe for us, and that allow us to continue to fight another day. Another day. We've taken to the streets. We've done that. We've gone down that road. I firmly support and believe in what was stated earlier about fighting with our economic viability. Target made the decision, as did multiple companies, to roll back DEI initiatives, and Target, because they had made promises they didn't keep, have been the target of Black leadership boycott, and the result has been detrimental to their financial stability as an organization. And that same thing is happening to company after company. And I think that's what we have to continue to do, because in this current Trump administration and in this economy, it is the money that speaks the loudest. It's the money right now that speaks the loudest. People are, mainstream media wants to talk about falling, Donald Trump's lowest poll number of any American president. He doesn't give a fuck about his poll numbers. He doesn't give a fuck about his popularity. That's not his purpose. This man isn't running again. He cares about enriching his net worth. He cares about enriching his legacy and his family, and he firmly probably believes that his wealth that he'll be able to buy his way into history and to have whatever legacy that will be left behind when his time comes to join Charlie Kirk. It is my belief that we have to do all that we can to hit him and his supporters who uphold him economically in the pocket. And again, that includes Tim Cook, gay Tim Cook, once principled Tim Cook, released the brand new iPhone. Fuck the new iPhone. Don't buy the iPhone 17. I don't give a damn how much battery power it has. It's time to keep this fucker on a charger.
Child, you right there with me. I had to cuss his ass out the other day, yesterday to be exact, because I don't agree with bending the knee to this traitorous dictator who's literally destroying democracy as we see it and hurting so many people. I mean, like, you have to start putting people over profit. You have to draw a line in the sand and stand for something. And it's just really disingenuous that he's giving Donald Trump credit for something that had already been in the works under the Biden Harris administration with the Chips and Science Act.
Yeah.
All because he cares about selling this new iPhone that's exactly the same as the last iPhone, and the iPhone before that, and before that, and before that, and before that. The only damn thing is they released a new damn colors. And the fact that he's dedicating this brand new orange color to the orange man in office unofficially. But he got rid of black, apparently. I guess black was too woke, so we don't have black iPhones anymore, just orange.
He turned the
I
black
can't.
iPhone into the orange iPhone. So I don't know, that air looks nice. Yeah, but it also has to come with a battery pack because it doesn't have the battery power. But again, you have to do what you want to do with your money. It's your money. Again, I'm someone who hasn't eaten at Chick-fil-A since 2012. So everyone makes decisions that's right for them with their with their wealth. To keep it moving, with away from such a heavy topic, we go from Trump being booed and the good work of Cole Pink and those who protest against it. There was a comment made earlier. I want to honor it, even though I'm not going to show it because it's from somebody who truly does probably want to troll. And they said, surely we must realize that more people in America love and support Trump than who dislike him. Well, if you firmly believe that the 2024 election was fair and free, then I would be inclined to agree with you, but I don't. I don't feel that it was fair or free. I think there was massive interference on a number of levels that we weren't able to overcome. And as a result, Donald Trump is president instead of Kamala Harris. But I firmly believe that the majority of Americans in this country do not support Donald Trump, as evidenced by his approval ratings and as evidenced by the mass protests happening around this country. I also firmly believe that even more Americans who are now living through the fuck around and find out phase of America who realize that their elections have consequences. The title of tonight's show are turning from Donald Trump and they're turning away from the MAGA movement. Our farmers in Arkansas are begging the United States government to give them a welfare bailout because their crops, soybeans and rice, the two primary crops, are sitting in bins rotting away. Crops that had been purchased or planned to get purchased by China and other foreign countries that are now being boycotted because of Donald Trump's tariffs against them. Because of his actions, these countries are no longer willing to purchase American produce and agriculture. And farmers across the country, but specifically in Arkansas this week, as we've seen on social media, are suffering. Farms that have been in the hands of families for decades are on the verge of collapse and on the verge of being taken away and probably bought up by JD Vance and other people that have a vested interest in agriculture. And that's going to be great for enriching JD Vance and Usha, but it's going to be devastating to those Arkansas families for generations to come. They will be living in poverty, in the type of squalor that we now see in Kentucky and West Virginia once the coal mines shut down. That is the fate of the Trump MAGA voters in places like Arkansas. That's the fuck around, find out. That's the consequences of their votes and their actions. So no, I don't believe that more Americans in this country love Donald Trump. You might love Donald Trump, but you are not the majority of us.
I mean, I don't feel bad for him. I mean,
I don't
here's
feel
my
bad for him
thing.
either.
Racism is very expensive. And it's just I did a video about this during the election, and I just don't understand how you can keep making the same mistake twice. Back in 2018,
Big time.
soybean farmers had went through this before and were asking for a bailout from Donald Trump, but most of the money went to corporate farms. Most of the regular, mom and pop farms didn't get the funding that they needed to. So why the hell would you do this again to yourself? Also, if you have soybeans, why would you think that when he was running and he was talking about imposing tariffs on China, and you know that China is one of your biggest distributors or sellers, why the hell would you think this is a good idea? Like, nothing makes any sense. Also, it's the fact that they didn't realize that with Trump going after U.S. aid and the fact that, us feeding people from, either third world countries or people that have been left behind, how do you not know that one of your biggest sellers is the United States government? And he's talking about all these cuts and fraud and abuse and cutting U.S. aid and America first. But you realize that your crops isn't just going to Americans. Like, I don't understand how you don't know where the fuck your produce is going.
Well, the thing is that I don't understand Donald Trump because he said he wants a tariff. He wants to use tariffs, right? But did he think that China and all these other countries weren't going to say, you know what? There's soybeans in other places in this world. We're going to go get it from there. And guess where they're getting them from? Brazil. They don't need us. They don't need our farming. And this is the problem because these farmers are screwed. And I said this when it first came out, the tariffs came out. I was like, Donald Trump is not going to bail these people out. He doesn't care if the farming industry goes to hell. He just really doesn't. It doesn't matter to him. So he is going to let it fail, and they are crying. And you know what? I don't give a damn because people here we are all suffering with the tariffs, okay? We are all being impacted by it. And you knew this when you voted for him that he was going to impose tariffs. You just thought it wouldn't impact you. And the problem is with a lot of these right-wing people is that they never understand until it impacts them personally. Well, guess what, guys? It is now at your doorstep and you are going to lose your farm. And you know what's going to happen when you lose your farm? A corporation is going to come in and seize and take your farm, and you will no longer have your livelihood, and someone will make money off of it one way or another. And we've seen this with black farmers. This has happened. They were pretty pissed off when Biden wanted to do a farm bill to help black and brown farmers, and they got all salty. So again, your racism always comes back to bite you in the ass.
So I love it. Like, and MJ, I know you believe with your whole heart, your whole self, the things that you are typing in this chat, because you're probably someone who is beholden to Fox News and right wing media, and you have not realized, or you don't want to accept that they lie to you every single day, none the fuck stop. But my friend, a simple search would reveal, and I'm going to give you my source, Talk Business, multiple countries buy soybeans from Arkansas. But the top importers for this year are Mexico, Pakistan, Taiwan, Egypt, and Japan. China, historically, and that comes from Talk Business. China, historically, a major buyer has reduced its purchases due to tariffs and large domestic reserves. And that comes from the UAEX.UADA. And you can go on to what I've gone on, Perplexity. It's an AI engine that gives you the news citation for the information that you share. See, this isn't Fox News. This isn't Newsmax. This is not one news network where we sit our asses up here and just make shit up. Now, we might be streaming from our houses. We may not be in a studio. We may not have all the fancy equipment, but what we do have is a truth. And the truth is our shield that we carry with us to fight the disinformation and the misinformation that you live in every single day, MJ. Every single day. Wake the fuck up and get the fuck up, because your life, the future of your family is on the line, just like American democracy.
Right, and if you don't believe that China is getting soybeans from other places, there is an article in the New York Times from 7 days ago talking about this. The facts are the facts, so you can ignore them. Brazil is the country that produces the most soybeans in the world. What are you even talking about? So this is the stupidity of MAGA that they don't even understand how things work, but yet they like to run their mouth.
Just let them fuck around and find out, okay?
I
They,
mean, they
but
they are, they will.
Just
and
let
again,
them fuck around. So
it
we
was
can
brought
laugh when
up.
they find it.
And correct. Now China has agreements to get their soybeans from Brazil and Venezuela. And that's the thing. We're not the only country that has produce and goods. And the thing is, once you leave us, once you create trade agreements with other countries, you don't come back. You don't come back. And that's what people are now realizing. And other industries have fallen in the past. America used to produce cotton. America used to produce tobacco. America used to produce, those things moved on because they weren't being bought by other countries. And now we're going to see that happen. And then all of those families in Arkansas that made this investment are going to lose all that they've invested in it, and they're going to have to also shift if they're able to keep their land and keep their farm. You talked about, it was brought up about the Hyundai plant in South Georgia. And what a tragic story that also has become. On the day that the news came out that the American jobs report was lower than expected, on the day that came out that the American economy is further sinking into chaos, that stagflation is on the rise or is now the norm, we had over 400 people arrested at a Hyundai plant that made LV batteries in South Georgia. These people were South Korean nationals who were sent to this country at the bequest of the country to make batteries because we don't know how to make the batteries. We don't even know how to read the directions that come to make the batteries because we can't read Korean. And now those people are going back to South Korea. Fuck you. We're not going to be in detention. We're not going to be detained. We're not going to be inconvenienced. And you will have to figure it out on your own if you can. More than likely, this battery plant is not going to be able to sustain itself. 500, 600 jobs in the state of Georgia now lost in a part of the state that's economically depressed, Bryan County, Georgia. And why is this happening? Because of the Trump policies.
Damn shame. Yeah, and the lady who did it was like so proud of herself. Did you see that? The white lady who called, she was so proud of herself. Made a whole
9,000
TikTok and
jobs. Thank you, Kathy. 9,000 jobs lost.
oh my, that's even worse. Yeah, I didn't like this. You call in, and again, most of these people were here on a visa. What? They have no reason to stay here. Now they're like, I'm gonna go back home. Like they don't want to be bothered with this. This is stupid. And listen, racism is going to get us all killed at this point because people are crazy and they're proud of their racism, which makes it even worse. Ay, ay, ay.
I mean, it is what it is. This is America, you guys. This is America.
Yeah.
This is definitely America.
And again, someone said, they're waiting for the Olympics to get moved. They're waiting for the World Cup to get moved. I do not believe that you should come to this country, on any kind of visa or as a visitor. We've seen people from Canada get detained. We've seen people from Norway get detained, Finland. Like, no, I don't think that you should come. Bad Bunny is now taking his tour internationally and said he will not be doing any visits in the mainstream United States of America because he said that ICE could show up at his shows.
Yep.
This is what I think is going to happen across the board. And I think that's what it should happen. That's the type of resistance that we need the American people to see. That is the kind of resistance that we need the American people to see and to enact with. I want to end on a more positive note or on something hopeful because tonight's episode was so heavy. The news has been so heavy. Do we have any good news, people out there, to share?
I mean, I was supposed to join on Monday with Elizabeth Booker Houston. We were supposed to join Flair, and we were supposed to stand outside of, Heritage Foundation and cuss them out. But honestly, I think those might be canceled because honestly, it's just unsafe right now to go out there and protest. And I was getting ready to put my black boots on the ground. I was ready to pull my cape out the closet and put it on, be Captain Save a Ho. I was about to go against my own words, but it looks like I'm gonna be boots on the ground inside of my own town. And I'm talking about my own home.
It's so funny. Well, Kenny and I did a podcast today. So the Maryland Democratic Party has a podcast called Burn the Talking Points. So we filmed that today. So I got to see him in person and it'll be out next week. So we'll get the promos next week and it'll be
Can't
out on
wait.
Wednesday. And we just talked about content creation and kind of what we look forward to in 2026 and 2028 and a little plug for our podcast that we have as well. So looking forward to that. And I think that is basically all I have. I have two more events this week. I've been busy this week. So tomorrow so here in Maryland we have what Westmore has the it's a program to be able to give like people that are young, like in high school, like a year of service. So they get to work in different companies and be able to have a year of service before they, so they can show that they've been in the job market. And so they're having a little ceremony for that. And then I have another event on Friday, so that's good. But also, even better news for us is Westmore's running for re-election. So we're excited about that here.
Woo!
That's amazing. And Tiffany, it's really great to see you out there and getting more and more out there. I mean, doing a podcast is necessary to continuously raise your profile, to raise your visibility in the content creator space, and to spread awareness about what we're doing with the big three. Is work, but it's the kind of work that we have to do. It comes with the territory. So good job, keep working. Citizen Morgan said, Kenny, can we talk about Kenny's latest video clip? He done made two of them today. Which one are we talking about, Kenny? Which one are you talking
I
about?
think they're talking about, but that's more depressing but hilarious at the same time. I think it's just a video of me, pretending to be Jada Pinkett Smith with the wig and the braids and all my Kamala Harris memorabilia and stuff like that. But I am looking forward to her book tour. I did secure my meet and greet number one. I did secure a really good seat, in the orchestra. So, I'm good. I mean, some people ain't get there.
I was able to get a ticket. I got my ticket.
You got one?
But I'm not. I didn't get one in time for the Atlanta meet and greet. Is sold out. But I did get a ticket. I'm hoping that maybe her team will show me some grace and get me up in there. I'm happy to pay whatever I gotta pay. But it's okay if I don't get to greet and meet. But at least I will be in the room for the discussion. So that is good news. Dawn, happy birthday! Happy birthday to another Virgo in the house.
Shout out to
It's
the
y'all
Virgo.
time. It's y'all season. But damn, y'all done gave us one hell of a Virgo season, bitch.
Lord. Yeah. It was my daughter's birthday last week, so yeah, I'm a little sick of Virgos already because there's too many of them. There's just way too many,
I
Kenny.
mean,
I'm
it's
sorry.
not our fault that y'all had one of
I
people
know.
decided to get and do the do on New Year's. Okay, so look, 9 months later,
I
here we come. The truth.
know. People y'all was definitely getting busy. My parents. But yeah, no, I think this week has been stressful already, and it just sucks that we had to have what happened today to kind of dim the light because I know I was prepared to talk about the excerpt from the book. So I feel like that got tabled in multiple arenas because of what happened today, but the excerpt was actually pretty interesting, and we can talk about that more as
Well,
the
I
book
think
comes
that's a good, now we can add it in if you guys want to add it in.
We got
Now,
13 minutes.
we got 13 minutes and I have it queued up. We want to also give a happy birthday shout out to Texas Diva 55, also celebrating that
Happy birthday!
59th birthday. I love birthdays. I love birthdays. I love birthdays. I love birthdays. And look, I'm so thankful that you guys are spending it with us, that you're ending your evening, you're ending your night with us. Hopefully it's with a glass of wine or some kind of libation, and you're like relaxing and just taking a chill and just, thinking things through as we just go through a long day. Yeah, some excerpts were released. And I do want to kind of know, good news, house remodel. I will look. I saw the comments and I saw the post and all that, and I'm gonna tell you my immediate reaction was I'm not gonna engage. I'm not gonna engage in what is past. I'm gonna read this book to learn. I'm gonna read this book to enjoy. I'm gonna read this book to support. But what is done is done. The people that are being exposed are people that I probably never fucked with and didn't like anyway. They already exposed themselves, Jen Psaki. That you already been exposed to me. So I was like, I'm not gonna engage in it because there are more important, like newsy things to talk about, and that's what I would talk about. But Tiff, what do you and Kenny think as people who are probably more closer to the Twitter sphere?
Oh, it just validated what we already knew. I mean, we already knew again, we lived this in real time. So like you said, this is past, this is present, but we lived this, but we never got confirmation or validation on what was really going on behind the scene. But we knew there was little bits and pieces. We got little sprinkles here and there, but to hear from Kamala's mouth is a different story, right? Because she has never talked about any of this. Simone has talked about it. Others who have left have talked about it, but she has not talked about it. So people can take it for what it is, but We saw it. We saw it happening. I mean, there was
Exactly.
so many times that this is why the K Hive existed. We existed to call out the bullshit that we were seeing, and we did. And we also knew that there were forces that were working against her within the administration. And this is not an indictment on Joe Biden. This is an indictment on his staff. And
Mhm.
even Ron Klain even admitted it, which I actually appreciated him admitting that, yeah, they didn't do everything they could do to help VP at the time. And I would rather them say that than try to skirt around it or try to pretend it didn't happen. Because guess what? It did happen.
It did
And
happen.
they need to, and Ron Klain has, I don't think this was a Ron Klain specific thing. This was when you're first at anything, people do not know how to navigate. And as VP said in the book, in the excerpt, she said that this was the first time that they actually dedicated like a pool team to her. I don't know what the hell the pool was doing because they wasn't reporting shit.
That's
Damn sure
right.
wasn't.
They
It
weren't
was
doing.
crazy.
I mean, I had to come up with a whole concept called silk press media just to cover what she was doing in Africa.
Yep.
Child, and I had to do it in a way that was going to resonate to the people, that was going to be entertaining, so they knew what her role was and what she was there for, with reinvesting after, Trump had destroyed our international relations and divested from the continent. So it was that. But yeah, that's the reason why the KHIV did exist, because we already knew it was bullshit. All the leaks that was going on and people trying to over exaggerate her turnover rate with her staff and all this other bullshit that they were trying to do. They even tried to pit Simone Sanders against Kamala Harris, saying she left because of the toxic workplace, when we know that was just bullshit. She said, "No, I'm getting my own show, but I'm out and I have to fix this." But Kamala Harris was not protected. And I want people to understand that, again, and just to reiterate Tiff's point, this book is not a Biden bashing book. This is a Black woman's experience, being the first Black woman, woman of color, woman period, to ever hold that level of office in this administration. This is her truth. And she should be able to have the grace to speak her truth, because imagine being in that position and being silenced for so long, you know? And I think the problem is we have an issue when it comes to protecting Black women, when it comes to just America in general. And again, even with all the misinformation, disinformation, the dehumanization of our first Black woman vice president, woman of color vice president,
Mm.
she was not protected. Fox News compared to her to a DEI hire and a whore. And most of the things that came from the left and the right, and even in between with the center, was all repeated propaganda that was used to diminish our first vice president, like our first Black woman vice president. And I don't understand where everybody was when it came to protecting this woman. Because when you're looking at the historic nature of Vice President Kamala Harris, she broke more ties than any vice president in history, passing some of the biggest and most consequential pieces of bipartisan legislation ever.
Yeah,
Capping
I
the
mean, there
cost
was
of an Inflation Reduction Act, American Rescue Plan, also appointing, breaking the tie to appoint federal judges to the benches. I mean, I don't understand why we allowed, or what was going on. I don't know if it was because of COVID, or, whatever trauma we might have been dealing with when it came to that. I don't know what was going on, but we did not live and relish in the moment and actually,
Yeah.
uplift this woman when we needed to. We just didn't take advantage of it.
And again, as someone has said, I don't listen. We have got to learn how to read. We have got to learn how to read. The mainstream media is going to constantly engage us in clickbait, and too many people jump on a clickbait. I haven't read the book. I've ordered 2 copies coming that are signed. Can't wait to read it. But I don't. When I read excerpts today, I didn't see Kamala bashing Biden. I saw Kamala expressing her issues around the Biden administration, the
Mhm.
people that work, the team that she was a member and a part of, his specific staff not supporting, embracing, and helping her. That's who was discussed and bashed, not Biden. Even though the media clique said Biden, we got to learn how to read.
That's
And
right.
also, whatever happened in Karine Jean Pierre's book is coming October 21st. But baby, I'm gonna tell you right here, I love the fact that this is now that book is gonna be right there by Jake Tappers. I hate to say it, but Kamala has buried her book. It's done. It's just done. Nobody's reading the
Yeah.
book. Nobody's
I
reading
mean,
Kareem,
I
baby.
might take a glimpse at it. I'll get it on audio,
Baby,
audible.
they ain't gonna even read it
Well,
down.
I
They're not
think
gonna even read it down to the lesbian bookstore. It's just not gonna happen.
you're so stupid. I think the Corinne Jean-Pierre book is going to be interesting because Kamala's is going to come out first and she's going to tell her story. I think Corinne actually has a story to tell because she also was not protected by the damn White House. So
At
you have
all.
two black women that were not protected by the White House. So they did not have her back. The way that they treated Jen Psaki and the way that they treated Karine, it is two different things. So
Exactly.
I
Night and
want to
day.
hear somewhat of what she has to say because again, was she limited? Because Kamala basically says that in the press room they weren't talking about her accomplishments. So was Karine like sidelined from talking about that? I want to hear from her experience what that was like, especially during that 3 weeks. I mean, it was a lot. So I'm not going to dismiss her book. I'm sure there's some tea in there, and we'll see when she starts her talk. I'm sure excerpts will come out about that too.
Child, it's a freaking mess. And we already knew that this was gonna
Exactly.
probably be a problem. Even because if you're OGK Hive, you already knew that we were fighting Biden's team when it came to whether he was going to pick her as his VP because they didn't like the fact that, she rightfully called him out on his busing issue back in the 2020 primary. And they had held on to that grudge for so long to where it spilled over into the actual administration when she was chosen and they actually won. So there was that. There was always that tension that was always happening with her and Biden's team, not Biden himself. Biden
And
picked her because he didn't want a pick me. He wanted somebody who's going to actually hold him accountable and actually give him the real, you know,
case.
fire.
So it was said, how you get a signed copy? Barnes and Noble. Okay, the day it came, I searched, and you could have gotten it. I think it was Simon and Schuster, but I got mine from Barnes and Noble, and they had signed copies. They were the exclusive distributor of the signed copies. So I ordered 2 of the signed copies. Thank you so much, our friend Poetic Justice, a fan of the show, a friend of the show, watching us every week, right here with us, donating continuously. We appreciate you, and we appreciate your support. If you are, watching and want to support Kenny, please do donate on Kenny's channel. For Tiffany and I, please subscribe to our Substack. And if you are going to donate to that Substack, to either of our Substacks, because we need paid subscribers to keep us boosted, to keep us lifted in the work. And it did sell. I mean, I bought mine immediately, so it may have already sold out on Barnes and Noble, but I bought mine like that morning immediately after it was 107 days. I mean, I was up for work. I was at my desk, which is really my dining room table, which is really bad on a dining room table. I hate to say it. Kenny, you know where I work, and I just was right there working and saw it come across on Twitter and jumped right on it and bought my book.
If you got a meet
And
and greet, you get a signed copy as well.
Well, that's good. So thankfully, I'm not gonna miss out on too much. But again, I'm still hoping I can get into that meet and greet. And I'm gonna tell you, Citizen Morgan, if I'm able to get into the meet and greet, I'm happy to buy a copy of the book, and I will get you that damn book. So with that being said, guys, thank you for joining us. We're at the 11 o'clock hour. It has been, I think, a good show, an informative show. It was a heavy topic. I know that some of the things said you don't agree with. But that's okay. That's okay. We're here to push thought and to do our job as the big 3. With that being said, we'll talk to you soon and see you next week.
Bye, y'all.